I was this close to recording without my hat on. This close. Not close enough. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a lovely one out there. I figured, Steven Wilson just released a new album today. You know what? It's 2 long 20-minute tracks. I figured I'd at least listen to the first one. We'll see how the first one goes. There's a good chance I'll listen to the second one, but let's check out the first one here. His new album, The Overview. First track, Objects Outlive Us, like I said, released March 14th, today, 2025. I wanted to give it a listen. And the album artwork, it's simply, simply cosmic. It just kind of got my attention. Let me pull it up here so you guys can see as well. Pull you guys up here. I don't know, there's something kind of nice and simple about it, I noticed. Anyways, that's the album artwork. It says here that the record is a concept album about the overview effect, a cognitive shift caused by viewing the Earth from space. All right. And I see a little bit of inspiration from Pink Floyd, Tangerine Dream, and Vangelis. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and dive in. Let's get a slice of it. Objects Outlive Us. See what Steven Wilson's doing. I'm not like a huge Steven Wilson fan in the sense. It's not like I've followed all of his albums and stuff. Matter of fact, haven't really listened to a ton at all. But let's go ahead and listen to it. We'll talk about it a little bit after. It's not a long song Saturday, but you know what? Let me bring this up to me. It's not a long song Saturday, but you know what? We'll still take a sip. We'll take a sip of whatever he's sipping on. Objects Outlive Us. Here we go.
There was no ghost on the moor, no open window, no monkey's paw.
I like that extra sustained note under him.
There in the mist, you ask me, did you forget I exist? I said yes, she played too hard to get.
I think that's a really nice sound between his voice and the synths, especially those higher notes that he sings in. I'm curious to see where this goes. I like the intro. I like it. That's very yes.
Insatiable thirst to kill.
it goes. Love how the drums just erupts. That sounds like we're getting to the main meat and the heartbeat of the song. Some really fantastic little details and layers in here.
A shopping bag broke, selling eggs and flour crashing down to the ground, just like star clusters smashing. But no one will give her a glance. They just shuffle on home in a trance. The tiniest lies fill their hives up with worry. To make it to church, well, she'll need to hurry. When late she will bow down contrite, while the meteor turns out the night. And there in a lottery street, a car isn't where it would normally be. The driver in tears about his payment arrears. Still nobody hears when the sun disappears in a galaxy apart.
I think strictly just from a sound perspective, it's really interesting to listen to. Like, listen to this. Sounds like radio signals in this guitar solo. That crash in the back.
First day of the new job and he was so nervous. Suit and the platitude, can I be of service? His boss made him clean all the cars, while he wondered, is there life on Mars? And meanwhile the stars line themselves up in order, while we bicker on with our fences and borders. But best not to think about that. It's better to live without facts. And now in her old wedding bed, a lady will dream that her husband is dead. Of course he's alive, he'll be home around 5. Still silence arrives when a nebula dives into our Milky Way.
I like that. Wasn't expecting heaviness in here, but I'll take it. Things are losing it. They're going off a little bit. That's a nice downturn into the organ there. Or not organ, whatever this is.
The thunder and rain start, the paving stones melt, and oddly the first spots make Orion's belt as you queue at the bank for an hour, 'cause a solar flare blew out the power. The nurse in the care home now empties her bathtub. The water will spiral, a galaxy's vast hub is draining away as we speak, but she loses her job there next week. There with his first telescope, a teenager stands full of hormones and hope as he's inside the light like a painting of light. He doesn't suppose that a black hole implodes in a trillion tears from now.
See, I feel there's so many layers in here. Catch the groove.
Back then, in time, we spoke for the earth, the truth, the proof, but in our hearts, the words we use were not to break or kill the spell, only to want to drag the dog that fell. And now may we be the few that survive, the ones that knew look back in our hindsight, knowing always there would should be an end, knowing it was just a question of when each of these souls just one in a million, each of these stars just one in a trillion. So dead, so black, the void, and still right there in dust, the earth destroyed. Back then in time we spoke of for the earth, the truth, the proof, that in our hearts the words we use were not to break or kill the spell, only to want to track the dark that fell. And now may we be the few that survive, the ones that knew look back in our
That sounds so cosmic feedbacky.
Just one
Getting a lot of little piano transitions, I'm noticing. That lead into a little verse or solo or some sort of break as well. But they sound so cool. This sounds so Opeth to me, like in the progressive era. Tight little movement. Doesn't it sound like Opeth? To me it does. Big tubular filter going through on this one. I did like his singing here. Nice call back to the beginning. That's good.
There was no gold on the moor. No open window.
There's that slow build up every time.
There in the mist, you ask me if you forget I exist. I said yes, 'cause you played too hard to get.
He has such cool sounds, right? Like there's something synthy about this guitar solo. It's got those sine waves, those saw waves. Pop there, heard that? This is a great solo. I like how the drums stopped. Kind of leading you off of this emotional precipice as it comes down. Sounds like a mosquito. There's that little background ambience that's kind of rising up at the same time. Almost sounds very chilling and dark, that sound that's rose up. And that is Objects Outlive Us. What did you guys think? First, before I dive into it and I explain my thoughts, I want to know what you guys think of it, off of your listen. Don't at all base your opinion off of what I say. But, you listen to it, talk about it. I think that Steven Wilson is an incredible musician. Phenomenal musician, especially of our modern times. He is a master at what he does. He is a master at his craft when it comes to production, composition, I almost said song making, but songwriting, song making, sure, as well. And I think that this track fits very comfortable in his repertoire. I think that this is an epic that's worthy of listening to it again, because it's 23 minutes of music. I got to listen to it again before I can properly give an opinion. So what I say is just off of a first listen. I think that the mastery of his, when it comes to all those things that I mentioned, comes through so wonderfully in here. The production in here, I think, is astounding. All the different layers that he's getting into the music with keyboards, organs, synths, and other things, and his guitar, and the sounds of those guitars, and the vocals, and the sound of the vocals, and the way that he brings it all into the fold, but in a very specific way, I think is just a wonderful thing, and I'm sure that it would be such a pleasure to watch him just sitting there at the mixing and mastering board, or wherever they call the control rooms and all that stuff, and just working and fine-tuning the different sounds, perhaps going to, play his guitar and having all of the wires and, I don't know, amps and pedals and whatever else you guitarists have, like having all that stuff and just working out such specific sounds and sitting there for hours upon hours to get the perfect sound for the theme that he's working towards on here. Obviously, we read that this is a concept album with themes of space and cosmic stuff and sci-fi-ness, and you get that into the music. You definitely hear a very clear spacey sound from some sort of satellite sounding feedback sounds that he gets through his guitar, which I think sounds amazing, to a kind of vastness and a looming and impending, I would say, blackness, like at the very end, that sound that kind of rises up. To me, it sounds like we're entering space and that deep, resounding hollowness of the black. Or perhaps it's, just something of that nature. Some sort of cosmic something. Curiosity. Maybe that's a good word to use. A cosmic curiosity. That's what that sound sounds like. Whether it's good or bad, that's up to be determined. But I think that that's just really wonderful. The singing in the beginning, I love that opening section. And I love how it's brought back later on. It's a nice callback, returning to that section. And I think that sounded really wonderful. Let me just back it up here really quick. Let me get to this. I think this is a stellar way to open it. I think it kind of gives it this, not necessarily operatic quality, but something awakening as such, or kind of similar to it. And because it's based off of space, it kind of works without throwing it in your face. I just said that because it rhymed. But the intro kind of has this almost abstractness, which the way that it's approached made me think of like David Sylvian's later works, and perhaps just because we're currently listening to it, No Man a little bit as well. Like the way that it's sung and opening here, with the music not being afraid to start and to stop and to not follow a direct rhythm or beat of sorts, but it's following its own beat. And then, of course, it moves on into this layering, this deep layering that happens. I don't know exactly where it happens. I'm just kind of skipping around. Here. Right? You have this just big, densely packed layer cake that's happening with, once again, all those things that I said before when it comes to his production, the synths, the keys, the layers, the vocals, the guitar, and all the other things that are happening in there. And it's just this powerful layering upon layering before we get a little bit of a break, and it moves into what I would say is like that main verse of the song. Which the main verse, everything in here sounds nice. The main verse sounds nice. It sounds what I would kind of honestly expect from Steven Wilson. So it's not like it's anything surprising. It doesn't feel like anything new or blowing my mind, but it sounds good. Nothing wrong with that. It sounds as I would expect. And if I'm being honest, let me back it up really quick. If I'm being honest, I liked this. I wasn't blown away by it. I think it's good. Once again, I think it's worth another listen to really get a true opinion on it. I think it sounds great, but I don't think that it's anything mind-blowing. I don't think that it's anything, I guess mind-blowing. That's the word, There's no surprises, I guess, in this particular track. I was kind of hoping for some surprises, especially when Pink Floyd, Tangerine Dream, and Vangelis are mentioned. I'm expecting something else, and while we got a lot of impressive things in here, I wasn't truly blown away or blown over by it. But it's good nonetheless, so don't take that as like a over criticism. But yeah, then we, like I said, we get into that main verse section, which is like what I would expect. And I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I looked at the time to try and remember when it was, but through my talking that I've just been doing right now, I've actually forgot what I was going to try and pull up. Was it around 13 minutes or 16 maybe? I think I was looking at. Like, okay. Excuse me. The song is broken up into different subsections. I don't know if you guys saw that when I had it up here. So you have different subsections, and like any song based, with different subsections, they all sound different from each other. So that one we just heard is probably the most proggy moment on the track so far, or on the album so far, but on this track, because it does have that playfulness to it. And does it sound completely different than perhaps the intro of No Monkey's Paw Of course it does. But do I think that the song transitions well between all of these different parts? I would say yes. However, I know what I'm about to say. It's going to be weird. This song, I could compare it in some ways to a song like Supper's Ready. Now listen, Supper's Ready is a heralded classic. It's earned its rights. Like, Objects Outlive Us, it just came out. So, like, I can't compare it in that level, and I would never dare to. However, what I'm talking about is Supper's Ready is a track of many different parts, 20 minutes long, and all the parts sound completely different. Just the same, Willow's Farm sounds completely different than Apocalypse and 9/8. However, somehow Genesis is able to keep a certain charm in their music, keep a certain flow and a certain authenticity that in Supper's Ready it just works for all of its eclecticism and weirdness, and it just works. In this track, on a first listen, I think it almost works. It's almost there. I can't say that the flow is bad because the flow is there. I just feel like it's not as good as it could have been. But that's just me. However, once again, the strength of the musicianship, I think, is top-notch. The sounds that are coming out, top-notch. Obviously, you have Stephen Wilson, but you also have Adam Holzman on organ, keys, Mellotron. That moment where the Mellotron rises is really nice, like a sunrise. Randy McStein on the background vocals, guitar, and sound effects. And then Theo Travis, flute and saxophone. Russell Holzman on drums. And the drums were really, really fantastic as well. Very tight. Felt really good within the ambience of the track, but also hard-hitting in the moments where it needed to be, such as that densely packed second part. I think it was the Buddha of the Modern Age. Just really, really nice, Anyways, good track. Let's look at the lyrics here. Some of the lyrics may be off, and as you can see that there's some that the lyrics are missing because the song just came out, so it's not all quite there. I inclined myself to space. There was no ghost on the moor, no open window, no monkey's paw. There in the mist you asked me, did you forget I exist? I said yes, because you play too hard to get. And I like how during this part, this conversation, the sounds and the music behind it echo the different questions being asked or different beats in this particular part of the story. Just a nice little subtlety there. The Buddha of the Modern Age. The Buddha of the Modern Age is barely paid a minimum wage. Too and healthy, the saying gave to our forefathers. When we once reached to touch the sky, now we have no need to try. The blurred photos of ghosts of men, such permanence, we don't comprehend, nor our stupid mouths. Or anything to burst through the insatiable thirst to keel over and over, we, the inferior species, wallow in our own feces, gazing down, no longer able to find some kind of perspective of us. So what I get out of this is that, even the wise man, the wise person of today, is not worth anything in a modern world to an extent. Why is this? There's so many different factors that could be, but that education, that knowledge, that wisdom isn't heralded and revered in perhaps the same way it once was. And I like the idea of, or the lyrics of gazing down, no longer able to find some kind of perspective of us. No longer are we gazing up to the stars in thoughts of progression and future and hope and et cetera, but we're gazing down. What are we gazing down at? Well, the most obvious thing would be like the phone, right? We're all gazing down. But I think it's also more, excuse me, just a metaphorical way of saying like we're no longer looking up to progress. We're looking down to perhaps regress. The third part, objects. Meanwhile, this brings it back down to something much more human and literal. Her shopping bag broke, sending eggs and flour crashing down to the ground, just like star clusters smashing. But no one will give her a glance. They just shuffle on home in a trance. Of course, you get the the bystander effect. Something happens, but no one helps. You think someone else will help, and you just move on with your life. And it's also the numbness of people sometimes. The tiniest lives fill up their hives with worry. To make it to church, well, she needs to hurry. When late, she will bow down contrite while a meteor turns out the light. And there, in an ordinary street, a car isn't where it normally would be. The driver in tears about his payment arrears. Still nobody hears when the sun disappears in a galaxy far, far away. So there's both little tragedies, such as this lady dropping her groceries or this gentleman unable to pay his rent. But then there's the big tragedies like stars dying and things like that. Start of a new job, he was so nervous, the suit and the platitude, can I be of service? His boss made him clean all the cars. While he was thinking about David Bowie, is there life on Mars? Meanwhile, the stars line themselves up in order while we bicker on our fences and borders. But best not to think about that. It's better to live without facts. That's that ignorance, but a purposeful ignorance. I think that this is a great stanza right here. So concerned with fences, borders, and, you know, in the grand scheme of things, silly things, especially when, you know, other things are happening. And now in her old wedding bed, a lady will dream that her husband is dead. Of course he's alive. He'll be home around 5. Still, silence arrives when a nebula dives into our Milky Way. And it goes on from there. I like I said, in this particular section, with the meanwhile, which of course, you know, if you think about a movie and the titles, or not the title screen, but the transition screen saying meanwhile, and then it cuts to, of course, typically some other characters, a different life or plot going on. You know, you have these big things happening, and like I said, this kind of brings it back down, literally, to Earth. And then the Ciceronis arc, I don't know if that's supposed to be a ship like in the movie Sunshine. It's one of my favorite movies. No ghost on the moor, heat, death of the universe, we repeat what we had at the very beginning. I inclined myself to space, there was no ghost on the moor, no open window, no monkey's paw. In the mist, you asked me, did you forget I exist? I said yes, because you play too hard to get. So the question is, who is he talking to? Like, you know, who is the conversation taking place between? At first, I was kind of thinking, well, because it's a concept album based on the overview effect, so like looking at Earth from space. So I was kind of thinking of an astronaut. You know, he says he inclined himself to space. No open window, no monkey's paw. He's up there in space, and someone asked him, did you forget I exist? Who would ask him? The first thing I thought of was like God, right? Because you play too hard to get. Like I tried to get close to you, but you weren't having it. Then I was thinking about the overview effect, and what if metaphorically he's talking to Earth? Like, did we forget that the Earth exists? Because that would also tie into all these other lyrics. Forgetting our home, the place that we hopefully love and will live on for a long time. Did we forget the Earth and the planet and the lives on it and the lives affected by the different things that we do? And then the astronaut says, yes, you play too hard to get. I don't know. I may have kind of traveled outside of the orbit, but I feel like I'm in a right trajectory. I'm in a right trajectory. I'll stop using space terms now. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts, of course, in the comments down below. You can support the channel on Patreon, $2 a month. You do not have to, but you can. It is an option. Let me know if you want to hear the next track. It's a good chance I'll just do it, but, you know, your opinions do matter. So anyways, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for sticking around, and I will see you all later. Bye, guys. Press the like button before you leave, by the way. Do that for me. Thank you.